What's up, gamers?
So basically what happened this time is that I made a game about 2 months ago and I didn't edit the video. So yeah, just forget about it. So it's time for Brackeys game jam, and what that means is that you have to make a game entirely from scratch in just 7 days around a given theme. Now I've already made a game in like 1 day or something. I don't know if you'd call that a game. So can I do it in 7? And this game is going to be 3D because, you know, I like to suffer. So let's just get into the game engine and start hitting some buttons. Yeah, I didn't really do anything on day 1 because I had to do like boring stuff like school and exams. Yeah, fun stuff. And so on to day 2. So yeah, day 2 was pretty much like day 1. Didn't really do anything, and just like that, I have wasted 2 days. Great job. Which means we have only 5 days to make a 3D game. I'm so good at this. So on day 3, I actually started to do something. First, I yoinked some first-person movement code. You know, like Control-C, Control and created a simple FPS character to do FPS movement, basic game dev 3D stuff. Also, there's just this random place I used to test out the FPS movement, and well, it does work perfectly, except that this place looks absolutely terrible because there are no textures. And if your game looks terrible, textures. So adding textures in game dev is really one of the hardest parts. It's a very delicate process, and if you don't do it correctly, it could lead to some, pretty big errors. So basically what you do is to head onto ambientcg.org and, yoink some free textures you find over there. And now you can see how hard it is to, add textures, because I also kind of deleted the other place I had when I was adding the texture, and I don't know how that happened. And next I tried to work on how the game should actually look like, which was a bad idea because I had no idea how the game should look like. So I went ahead to work on other things like, the feel of the game, player movement, and extra things like screen shake, which was a bad idea because there was no actual game to play, and I don't know why I was working on these things already. So word of advice, don't do this. If you don't have your game set up, don't spend 5 hours working on a screen shake that will eventually look like this. And well, the screen shake version I was actually going for was the one we see in Carlson, which looks pretty cool, and it looks like it's messing with the rotation right now, so the camera is like going left and right. So if we switched our screen shake offset from the X and Y to the rotation, then we should have something pretty good, right? So, day 4. Or I think it was really day 3. I'm not really sure where day 4 starts, but let's go. Day 4 is really where the fun stuff begins, because I suddenly became obsessed with trying to make the game look better, and that meant post-processing. So I added bloom and ambient occlusion and some distance blur, and it did look really cool until I finally ran the game and had like 2 FPS on this gaming toaster that I call a computer. So yeah, that was really cool. And now it's time for the actual hard part, 3D modeling and animation. Now you may not know this, but I'm kind of amazing at 3D models, because just look at this, it's so cool, and my animations are just sick. But we don't have to do any modeling right now because I already created a model a while ago. So yeah, meet Chad. I don't know why I called him that. He's cool because he has a very cool walk animation, but I also wanted him to be more of a robot, so we just slap on a square mouth on this boy, and now we got ourselves the Chatbot 1000. So I added Chatbot into GODOT. Okay. That is probably because I also tried to make him a ragdoll, which for some reason is kind of broken, because my model is broken. So I decided to fix the model by adding more vertices, and one easy way to do this is to add a subdivision modifier, and this absolutely sucks. Wow, that was really... So let's forget about the subdivision modifier and program some simple enemy movement. which is what I did, and it would have worked if I knew what I was doing, but clearly I didn't. So I fixed that, and this dude now walks like this. Perfect. And now the next big problem was level design, because I had no idea what the game was going to be. So my lazy game dev brain defaulted to platforming. I eventually decided not to do platforms because that would be a lot of work to like arrange a level and stuff, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted the levels to be somehow procedurally generated, because that's a lot easier than making levels. And now it's time for day 5. So on day 5, a lot happened and I somehow deleted the recording, so I'll just tell you the stuff that changed. I created a new gun model because I didn't like the rectangle very much, and the colors, everything changed to a more dark, cold blue stuff. You get the point. And the enemies can now jump over stuff using a raycast that detects whether the chatbot is close to falling down, and if yes, it initiates a jump function or something. There are also these things that I call trees, which are just a few glowing boxes put together that don't do anything, but I just thought it looked cool, so I wrote some code to randomly spawn them with varying heights all over the place, which was cool. But you know what's cooler? Flashing lights. Cool, that's what I thought, of course. Except I then deleted all of them and completely changed the trees to buttons, because I had this insane idea to make the enemies come out of buttons. So basically there's a lot of buttons, and when you press the wrong button, you find an enemy. Wow. If you press the right button, you find the door. Key, door, exit, the door open. Wow. So this definitely made more sense in my head, and when I did it, it wasn't cool, but I already had wasted enough time that this essentially became the core mechanic of the game. We also now have fancy lights on the buttons, so the game just doesn't look as bad as it actually is, because the gameplay itself is trash, and so I added these lights so the game doesn't look as trash as it actually is. But then it also created a problem with my camera shake function, and I think it's because of the lights. Somehow the lights are spoiling my camera shake. It's definitely not because of bad code, it's the lights. So I did this by reducing the number of buttons on screen, which definitely reduced the lights, and so the game was now working perfectly once again. And also we can now escape from these guys finally. And well, that concludes day 5. On to day 6. I did a lot of interesting stuff, like messing with the generation code, I mean the random placement of objects and stuff, and I also finally created the system for creating new levels when you get to the end of the tunnel, so you could keep on going and the game keeps on creating more and more buttons to press as you move on. And then just one small problem. So it definitely took a while to set up the animations and stuff, but gun can now go pew pew, which is nice. Also, the gun fires using hit scan, which basically means it's a raycast, so you don't actually get to see the bullet. Wow, that is crazy knockback. I mean, you might call this a bug, but I think it's a feature. All I did next was add in some more polish and fixed a few bugs here and there. Yeah, you can see it's not a lot of gameplay, but I didn't have enough time to add more stuff because this was already day 6, and also there were a lot of bugs to fix. And so I used the rest of the day to finish that up. And so on to day 7, the final day of the jam. Okay, so it's day 7. Now we have 17 hours more to finish the game. So, spoiler, I didn't actually finish the game on time, and well, here's what happened. I basically started working on the UI of the game. So I added a starting point and I put some text on the walls that shows the name of the game. And well, here's the name of the game. Another one of my very genius game names, you know. For now, I decided to waste my time trying to create a system for 3D buttons in GODOT. And so it took a long time to figure it out, but I finally was able to get some buttons working. It's crazy, the scene looks like this, and then when you run it, it looks like this. Awesome. And after that, I added sound effects and some terrible music, like I always do, and the game was pretty much done. Except that I was a little too late to submit it for the jam. But I still uploaded it to itch.io anyway, and so that game is complete. If you ever feel like playing some really trash games, and I mean really bad, then you should probably not try this one because it's worse than you could probably think of. But hey, I had a lot of fun working on this project, and I think that was the main goal, to have fun. And I did create something that looked pretty cool. It didn't play as cool, but I thought it looked really cool. If you also had fun watching this video, then you should be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Haha. Yeah, because it's really fun and it really helps out, you know, algorithm, YouTube. But really, thank you guys for watching this. And maybe I'll, you know, eventually be able to work on cooler stuff. It was also really interesting because I was working on a game that was clearly more high level than my computer. And so I had to create a few performance tweaks to make sure it was able to run on my bad computer. But